Love Joel's opinions and views and love the show.
If I read anything else this morning regarding Lydia Hislop's hole,
I wouldn't have had him quite at Gold Cup level.
he did it for Gino.
Probably the most significant road to Cheltenham we've probably done this season.
I'll hold my hand up and say I thought he was an absolute certainty at the weekend.
Rossi's such a tit. Probably the most significant road to Cheltenham we've probably done this season. I don't know where to start on what we saw at Presby Park on Trials Day. 8 races we went into looking like we're going to have some really informative trial. Probably creating more questions than answers. Delighted to say that Yankee Frankie's back in Blighty with us. And Joel also hasn't been anywhere. I know, Frankie, you were watching on from afar across all the action. Best news out of the entire weekend, obviously, is Sir Gino. Hopes are high for a recovery after what looked a nasty incident breaking out at the top of the hill.
Yeah, I agree with what you said before that as well, Matt. More questions than answers. It looked like a straightforward weekend going into it, and it certainly wasn't how things panned out. But best news of the weekend, as you said, is Sir Gino being well and hopefully on the road to recovery. Whether or what happens with his racing career is irrelevant, really. We just hope that he's well and can look forward, I'm sure, to a happy and healthy retirement. You never like to see any horse go wrong, but certainly the superstars that we all follow and enjoy watching the most, it's great news that he walked onto the ambulance and seems to be getting on as well as he can.
Yeah, I mean, it's an injury that happened the same to our play to Getaway as well, but he fractured it, he came back and then did another issue, so there is always that concern. I mean, whatever they do, hopefully he can have a healthy retirement. But like we said, Joel, more questions than answers. We've got the DRF Dublin Racing Festival this weekend, which may answer some of those questions.
Unless they find any holes on the track. If I read anything else this morning regarding Lydia Hislop's hole, I bet the guys are there going, should we run it, should we not run it? Oh, no, here comes Lydia. Oh, no, here she comes. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a bit. But, yeah.
Well, let's get out of the way. Let's get out of the way.
Okay.
Would you have run?
No.
Frankie?
Hole on the track, and there was a drain burst, was it?
Apparently so, yeah, drainage issue.
Yeah, I mean, bizarre, really, isn't it? How does that happen?
It's a case of that. Look, fair play. Obviously, I know the trainers, the jockeys, they were all happy. Everyone that was taking involved was happy, and what are the chances of being a hole on the track? When I remember the Doncaster Ledger days when that was abandoned because of potholes just appearing, and I just thought the negatives, they got away with it. Great. It went and we got a race. Typical, it was a photo that we couldn't see. We'll come to the race end, but it is a surprise. I just thought the negatives outweighed what the positives were. The potential negatives could have been a disaster.
Yeah, there was no, we always talk about health and safety gone mad and everything, but that's me waiting on some ladders and climbing on a roof up a drain pipe. Do you know what? And I mended it. But I could have fallen off it quite easily because I was wearing flip-flops. I just don't think you need it. And all I saw in my head was the more negativity for Cheltenham in the press, with it be, and just the way that you can write it in a headline outside of racing with the best horse in training, career-ending injury most likely, after a big hole has been found on the track at Cheltenham and they continue to race. I just think sometimes, if I was there, I want to watch racing. But if there's no hole in the track and they didn't know there anymore, just do what's best for the business. And fair play to Nicky Henderson. I know he gets a lot of stick for pulling horses out. He was the one that pulled his horse out.
Yeah, he was. He did. Acts of innocence. Didn't run in the last. But he said that was actually ground conditions, nothing to do with what was going on. And then after we did run, typical, we had a photo. And have you seen the image? I mean, they are adamant.
That is the image.
Pretty much. So we'll talk about the race in a bit more detail shortly. But I mean, Ben Paulin said that he was happy with it, and obviously he had the runner up. So,
but do you think he was taking? Do you think he was taking the mix? He's got a good sense of humour. Could you really say that with a straight face? It's just been done in a photo that you can't really see, and he went, "No, I was quite happy with that. Yeah, a second." And you sort of go, "Are you having a laugh at it or what?"
Brilliant. Right, don't forget, next week we've got to reflect on the DRF as well. We are looking forward to that. I've just got some comments to make as well. Won't be a second, boys, because right here.
Normally you were the prop, Joel.
I was going to say, where's he?
I just couldn't find where I've written down these messages. So we've had
of love then.
The great game. It's all about opinions, isn't it? So, Joel, talk about dividing an opinion. From the weekend, we have Rossi's such a tit. Yeah.
Ross Joel.
I mean, yeah, and also in other news, grass is green. And somebody else says, love Joel's opinions and views and love the show. There we are. Dividing opinion.
Yeah. So one was written by me and one was written by my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, we're not sure which is which either.
Yeah, I'm not sure which either.
I love that you did reply though, saying, I don't know what I've done now, but I do agree.
Yeah. Oh, come on. You know, you've got to have a thick skin if that's the worst that people are going to say to anybody. Look, it's all about opinions. And I put up something today in the Mayor's Novices Hurdle, right, at 50 to 1. People are going to have a right go. And then it wins and you go, oh, you're a genius, and a fiver each way on that. So it's opinions. And I love it. Honestly, keep it coming. The abuse is great. I like it. I get off on it.
Certainly do. We've got some other comments as well regards actual horses. I'll get them later on in the show. But let's get stuck into what we saw there. It was a big Cheltenham of the weekend. Obviously, Sir Gino was a talking point out for the season, but great news on Sunday. Like we said, that is the most important thing. But it means we've got a wide open champion hurdle. I guess Lossiemouth will see at the weekend to enhance her claims. But with Sir Gino out of the way, boys, it was down for the new line to go and really put down a marker. What do you think? Did he, Frankie?
I don't think he put down a marker. No, I don't think he was asked to put down a marker. He was given a fairly cheeky ride by Harry. But even that being said, you know, the horse is in behind. I'd like to see him really put a couple of lengths between himself and them in a bit of a canter. Really, he wasn't flat out, Harry, on the new line by any means, but it wasn't exactly a wow performance, was it? Or one that screamed, I'm a champion hurdle winner and I can take on the likes of Lossiemouth, for example, if she is to run, or the Constitution Hill of old, or, you know, suddenly you sort of have this picture of the new line being mixed in with the Ans Adams and the sort of second best horses and at that level, rather than that level, which is just a cut above the rest. So didn't scream champion hurdle winner. I don't know why, actually, he's not a similar sort of price to the likes of, let's say, Golden Ace, for example, is twice his price. I think he's sort of come down to that level of horse rather than gone up into the top level.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he was cut to 3 to 1. I think that's more of a case of obviously Sir Gino being out. He's now 11 to 4. Lossiemouth 2 to 1. The big move for Joel, obviously Constitution Hill into 5 to 1. First of all, what did you make a new line? Do you think like the better the field, the better quality field, the better pace may see him in a better light?
Yeah, I think so. But I think they really thought that Sir Gino would just go and bolt up, and Harry would maybe take second. A bit like Grey Dawning Ride. I'll just stay on at my own pace, so to speak. You know, when you look at Nemean Lion and Brentford Hope behind him, you say cheeky ride. Maybe it was, but I think the first thing he said on TV was, well, all the lads were saying, "Where's Nico?" The concern for Sir Gino, obviously, you know, arguably the best horse in training, but also he was expected to win that race and expected to win really, really well. So I couldn't have that on my mind. And I've also backed Lossiemouth for the mares because I was convinced of that and didn't take 18 to 1 about Constitution Hill right at the start of the series of this show. Come on, Sir Gino's not going to run in this. And I hate saying that. I hate saying that now for what happened at the weekend. But, you know.
It does definitely increase his chances of running, though, doesn't it? Because, I mean, even Michael Buckley as an owner, if you see your trainer who you've had loads of success with and a good relationship with lose his main hope for the champion hurdle, as an owner, you want to support him and say, you know what, we're going to try and take this on now. So I'd say he will shorten again after his race at Southwell. If you were going to back him now, it's probably the time he's only going to get shorter, isn't he, as long as he gets there.
And I think as well, I mean, you can hear the interview now on ITV when Constitution Hill bolts up, faultless jumping over 8 hurdles, and you know, and Nicky's there going, he did it for Gino, you know, but you can hear it, can't you? You can hear it coming now, and it's as far as the new line goes, I couldn't have that horse on my mind.
My Ante-post bet this week is going to come in the champion hurdle a little later on, so stay tuned for that one. What about the stayers? Probably the most impressive one on the card, Marchantou. That's 3 from 3 from Cheltenham this year. And Ben Jones, I'll talk about him shortly, he's starting to get a bit of a decent book of rides. Is he the new Paisley Park? Or we're just doing that association because it's Emma Lavelle? I mean, to be fair, he travels better than Paisley.
Yeah, and also doesn't cut out halfway through and go to 200 to 1 in running. I was really impressed. Is it about sixes or something now from
6 to 1, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those where if you're on at 50, even if you're on at double figures, you're happy. You're happy with that. There was lots of money, wasn't there, on Saturday for Moshan too. Ben Jones was phenomenal, and I'm glad that Emma Lavell's got. She's always good with the stay and chasers, but I was hurdlers rather. But I was always, at no point in that race did it look as though it was going to be beat. I was really impressed. Would I take 6 to 1 now? I ain't going to get any bigger, I don't think. But the bubble's gone for me. The bubble's burst. There's no double figures around now. But I was really, really impressed.
It was very impressed. I mean, first of all, Frankie, I was so impressed with you, with Marchand. And secondly, as Ante-post to me, obviously it's knackered one of my portfolio, but has he got any chance of turning it around? I mean, he's twice the price. Any excuses? Could he? Was he 100% fit? He's had a hard season so far.
He has. I wonder if it's bubble burst. I'll hold my hand up and say I thought he was an absolute certainty at the weekend. I couldn't have had him beat. He was giving away a bit of weight, wasn't he? £6, I think the winner got from him. But at the same time, he got battered 7 lengths, and Marchand 2 was going away. I was really impressed with the winner, and he has to now be the price he is because he's a 3-time Cheltenham winner already this season. He's done it over track and trip, and he's beaten what was previously, as it stood, the best staying hurdler that we've got this side of the Irish Sea. My only question mark now is, have we been watching a lower level of staying hurdle races over here, and Ante-post, strong leader, even Honesty Policy, all of these horses that have been racing against each other over here, are they actually just a fair bit worse than the likes of Ante-post and even Bob Ollinger over in Ireland? That's actually the sort of way of thinking I've come around to from the weekend. Really impressed by the winner, but I'm questioning our form, and I'm probably, as a result of it, even stronger on Ante-post for the stairs.
Let's talk about the Gold Cup then. Grey Dawning, a little bit disappointing. I mean, obviously, I haven't read anything come out of this. Obviously, they're happy for him to take his chance, but he did actually run he had a big mark on his backside, didn't he? I mean, he has obviously a big grace when anything shows up, but West Spillane's Tower absolutely belted him as he was about to jump off, and he actually had a big mark across his backside. Did that affect the result? Was he just not on his A game? Dan Skelton did say, Joel, you said on Friday that he did say he'd improve for the run. But Spillane's Tower, as we were talking to us a couple of years ago, is he going to finally get his chance? He's now into 10 to 1 for the Gold Cup.
Well, I think JP, if you saw the interview afterwards with Jimmy Mangan, who's always great on the telly, he was honest at the start, said, thought the horse was back. And it's up to JP. He said, I'll do what I want. I'll do what he tells me to do. But I'll probably never have another one in the Gold Cup. Now, JP's a businessman, but JP's a very nice man as well and looks after people. And if if he's thinking heart, he can shove another one there with a purple cap or a red cap or whatever. So I think he'll go. But I think 10 to 1's a ridiculous price as far as Grey Dawning went. Got the kick at the start again. Was there a vet available? I don't know these things.
He was looked at. He was looked at. They trotted him up and they were happy.
But I think Dan would have run him anyway if he was happy to go. Florian Porter was running for the Grand National, so I thought Florian Porter would try and make all, but just sell at the back and didn't do out, getting beat 25 lengths. La Hompress, that's probably the horse to take out of. But was that the horse's Gold Cup on the day? Grey Dawning. I couldn't work out Grey Dawning because it made the mistake it was at the second last again.
Yes.
I couldn't work out if I know he wasn't going to be knocked around like we said and everybody said beforehand. None of these horses needed to win. None of them needed to win. And Dan before and afterwards pretty much stated that about Grey Dawning. And when Grey Dawning made that, it wasn't a case of he was brought home in his own time, but they didn't bottom him out. That wasn't his Gold Cup. That's not news for anybody watching this. If you follow racing, you know that. It was a non-bet race for probably all of us. La Hompress looked like the one that was trying the hardest. But you know what is
he was clipped to 40 to 1. I thought it was a probably fair Grand National trial if that's the route they go. with him. Frankie, could you still have Grade on in 20-1 now? That tempts you in?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't have had him quite at Gold Cup level prior to the weekend. This race actually, it's a similar sentiment to what I said about the stayers, and I was just having a quick Google because I couldn't remember the Irish horse 2 years ago that won it, but it was Capodanno, and I remember he came into the race with iffy form, similar to Spillan's Tower. And it was almost a bit of a reminder, although the British is definitely strengthening, it was a bit of a, haha, we can come over and nick the Cotswold Chase off of some of your Gold Cup contenders with one of our sort of 7 or 8. It's just not strings, but in the pecking order. And I sort of got that feeling again. I know Spillan's Tower has been a good horse. He was second in the John Dirk and he's won a Grade 1 over in Ireland. But it felt like if he's... and they weren't our best challengers. Don't get me wrong. We got, Django Bay and then the Jukebox Man, but it felt like they just come over and nicked it and sort of said, get back in line, long press and Grey Dawning. You're not good enough for the Gold Cup.
All right, let's go all the way back to the second race on the card then. The Triumph Hurdle Trial, the Juveniles, the Stars of the Future, Maestro Conte. We kind of all fancied Manila Yoga, thought the form was stronger, but that was put in his place. A Harry Skelton masterclass, really. Cruised up, got up on the rail and won going away. 8-1 now, third fav for the Triumph Hurdle, Frankie.
Yeah, my mistake. I should have told you at the top of the show, Matt. We're blaming the Racing Post for this one. Of all the brilliant races that were shown over the weekend, for whatever reason, you can't watch this one back. So I can only work off of how many lengths he won by, which I can presume was quite impressive. But I actually couldn't find anywhere to watch it. It was just showing the paddock for 5 minutes rather than the race, which is not helpful.
I'll talk you through it. Warren's Town was winning the whole way. Manila Yoga went one side, Maestro Conti went the other side, and Harry Skelton, he gets a lot of stick, brilliant ride, up there, going away. And I thought, we've got this 100% wrong. The bookies had it completely wrong. The Nichols horse did go off favourite, came third. Maestro Conti, you put your hand up when you've got one wrong. I didn't think it beat anything beforehand. So I think 8-1 is a fair price.
I know that Cobden can be, and same as Nichols, they probably get more stick for being overconfident than underconfident, I think would be fair to say. But they were really, really excited about Manila Yoga's chance, weren't they? So if you take that at face value and then the fact that it's been pumped however many lengths it was, then Maestro Conti could be quite a nice one.
Certainly could be. I know one race that you definitely would have seen, though, was across country.
Oh, yes.
I tell you what, though, I mean, you kind of harken back to the likes of Tiger Roll, Delta Work in those silks, big weight carrying performance, sauntered clear. The French horse, Jerive de l'Est, who had to win to get in, didn't stand a chance. Don't forget, he was getting nearly 2 stone off Favre de Champagny. Right, 6-1. Now, obviously, wasn't the bet him going into the race. 6-1, though, behind the likes of Stumptown and Desert Moor House. Looks one that's going to be ripe for the Irish. What did you make of Favre de Champagny, Frank? Apart from, of course, putting a big bulge in your wallet.
Yeah, it was welcome because I did get the shorties wrong, but it was a good performance, massive performance, wasn't it? I think the cross country, I was having a good look at the rest of the field to try and sort of get my head around it because it's now a handicap and used to get the horses like you mentioned, Tiger Roll, that will come in. They're a class above the rest and they might not win throughout the season, but then they'd come and win at the festival. Now it's slightly different and he's obviously going to go up again for that performance because it was so good. But there's a chunk of horses at the top of the market. There's Stumpdown, there's Himself, there's Desert Moor House is 140. There's a sort of section all at the top of the market. And then you're dropping down to horses that are in the 120s. And I think there's just too much of a disparity, despite the weight, that they just can do it with ease carrying 12 stone. So when the weights for the cross country come out, it'd be interesting to have a look. But I think it was just a case of he's that much better than them. He went around there really comfortably. He took to the cross country course beautifully. So he's definitely put himself in the frame. I don't know what the plan is with Stumptown. He's currently at 149 and Favre went off 149 at the weekend and we'll go up for that. So it's going to turn into a bit of a battle of the weights, but I have got one in there for all my digging and trying to find one that's well handicapped. I've got one in the cross country, but I'm saving it for my bet of the week.
Ooh, tease me, baby.
But yeah, you're both teased now. Can I just say as well,
You already teased, I just thought you said yours was in the mares.
It might be. I might change it in a minute because it might be a little bit too um, the horse in second that had to win to get into the big one, right? Drive Drest, or what do you call it, right? It did lose its left front shoe. The saddle did slip early as well. So
there was a lot of saddle slipping going on.
Yeah, there was. There really was.
Apparently, anyway.
Normally, was it normally the Czechoslovakian fellow? He normally takes the wrong course, doesn't he? There's normally something goes on in cross country or what have you. Was it Mikel Nolan who's at the wrong course as well, and everyone sort of followed him?
Tommy Bow, yeah.
Yeah. I like this. I mean, a lot of people don't like the cross country and they're switched off because we're talking about it. And Frankie's, one of Frankie's best bets is got to be here. I think there were excuses for the second, but problem being, ain't going to get a chance to prove it. I was worried about the Gordon form going in, but there was a reason why Jack Kennedy came to Cheltenham. Was it 2 winners as well at the weekend? Like, Jack Kennedy's probably my favourite Irish jock. I love him, and he's not broken his leg for a couple of weeks. I was, the man's made of iron, isn't he? I mean, you've got to be completely mental to be a jump jockey, but the amount of times he's broken his leg, I was dead impressed with the winner. But again, couldn't have had it on my mind. But Frankie on the Punters Guide was big, and Mackie's Bulge,
not just his wallet.
Hey,
right. Right, rattle through those quickly. Jordan's Cross game. I know there's another one. Justin Ige, Frankie. I know you're a big fan of Kubikois. I expect they'll both be back for Jack Richards. Jordan's Cross, Anthony Honeyball did, so he may need to go up a little bit more in the weights, maybe to get in. He could go for the National Hunt Chase, he said. I wonder if he may have the toe for the 2.5 of the Novice Handicap. But as we said on Friday, the winners of this race, 4 winners, 2 seconds, and a 4th at the subsequent festival.
Yeah, it's not bad form, is it? I would have loved Quebecois to win purely for the fact that you said I started off with a loser. What do you fancy, Joel? And he almost got there. I thought,
you know what? And I was there as well because he did it in that smug way, a bit like last week when we were talking about a horse. He's going, I just don't get it. So Frankie started with a loser. Yeah. What do you fancy, Joel? And mine was the loser. Pushed the button. The button was never pushed. So fair play, Frankie.
I always end up coming to regret those comments. I don't know. It's typical, isn't it? I could not have him on my mind the way he's been running this year.
In fairness, I think Freddie Gindra had a decent part to play in it. I thought he was great, actually. When you watch him, win a race, but even when he's in a finish and over the last couple of fences, I thought he gave him every chance. I think he is getting better and better and riding with more confidence. And probably the way that he featured in the Netflix or the ITV series, not Netflix series, has aided him as well. I think he's really sort of cementing himself as a proper jock. So he didn't win, but I thought he was mustard on him. Don't know if he will hold up the pair of them will hold up the form as far as it is going on to run well at Cheltenham. I'd like to see Jordan's Cross stepped up. I think that makes sense for him because he was finding all the way, wasn't he? And Sammy Twiston was really getting after him, and I think you could see him sort of rallying up the hill in a bit of a slower ram race. So that would potentially tease me into at least thinking about him in a race like that.
I think, Joe, you have to think about him with the record of the horses in this race in previous years. It's just a real good guide to festival success.
Yeah, you have said that, and I think National Hunt Chase is an absolute tick on this one. I was really devastated with Push the Button. And when you hype on yourself and you've had it hyped to you and you're looking, and it comes from Twisties, actually, didn't it? Which is ironic. Comes from Twisties over to Mark Walford, but another day for that one. But fair play to Frankie, and not for me.
All right, well, another one of Ante-post portfolio that got shot to bits this weekend was Jaguars Run. Obviously, battle, giving a lot of weight away to Donica, but they were hopeful for a win if they're thinking Ryanair. It looks
Get him in the Ultima.
Well, yeah, maybe they step up to 3. We weren't on about that's what he needs, but Josh Guerra afterwards said he's probably going to go back to try and retain his crown in the plate.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? For me, he has made a mess of crucial fences too many times. You can throw a sticky one in, but it's not ideal ever to jump it like he does. But it's the second last and the last that he just does not get right and loses so much momentum. And I just wonder if he was stepped up in trip, he might get away with it a little bit more because horses would have a little bit less finishing speed at the end of 3 miles rather than 2.5. Because when you get going into that last and you don't take it cleanly and land running, you make it very hard for yourself to get up the hill. And he just does that one too many times. I'd love to see him at 3 miles. And I mean, he's top of the market, isn't he, in most handicaps for the festival. But you'd have to give him a big chance, because his mark's not really going to be adjusted for what he did at the weekend, and he's just got to get it right. I think 3 miles would give him more chance of getting him right. So if he goes for the Ultima, I think I probably will end up backing him, I'd say.
Yeah, I think he'll have every chance in that. And Donica as well. I mean, model of consistency. Fair play to Nigel Hawke. I guess he'll be back for the plate as well. I mean, they could easily take each other on there, Joel.
Yeah, I think so. I think going back to Jaguar, though, I just don't think... I've watched it back many times because I just don't think Jaguar wanted to go past. I watched it back 6 times. The result's the same every time. But I just don't think the horse wanted to go past because was absolutely cruising. Absolutely cruising. And you go, how far? I've not looked at the in-running prices, but I'm thinking Donica's getting picked up here. Just kept finding. And as you say, really consistent. If they both go to the plate, who would you back? Because there's going to be a big price difference, isn't there? I mean, are you giving Jaguar another go?
Yeah, I don't know. Yes, it's a fair point. If they ran the race tomorrow off the same weights, would you have another? Probably not. I don't think I'd have my money down. It's quite brave.
Hopefully, we'll hear from we will hear from Josh Jr. of course to run up. Hopefully, Ollie and Josh as well. And they didn't mention the ground, but you sticky ground, better spring ground. He can jump better out of better ground, and how much is that taking out of him? Those small. I thought he jumped a lot better on Saturday, but those small niggly mistakes that he can make, that must take a little bit out of him, which could tell in the finish. So if better spring ground, like they say, if that's the reason, then maybe you'll see an even better performance because he travelled beautifully again.
I don't think it's it makes those mistakes, but I don't think it's anything to do with the weight. He just looked quite ungenuine. I know he's won at Cheltenham, but he just didn't want to go past, and John was giving him the kitchen sink as well. He was not just settling for it.
It's because he thinks he's got another half mile to run.
Yeah. So hang on a second. Are you lurking? Are you lurking for the Ultima here then?
I'd back him certainly in the Ultima. Give him a right chance. I reckon he's. Was it Josh or Ollie that said he's not that dissimilar to Iroko? Like, I think he's got a serious engine and he's just getting done for a little bit of pace because he throws in a sticky jump. He makes it really hard for himself to go and win, and he's getting beat that way. I reckon he'd travel a dream over 3 miles. I think the engine's there for it.
Okay, right. Apparently, we're told that Cryptic Jim won the last. Only those of Miners Lamp though could see. No, another great finish. Again, another one that's actually, I don't know if you already done this one, Frankie. No, you hadn't put heads up in your Ante-post picks, but you did fancy him the weekend. But what do you do with him now? Because he was so keen. Is the drop to 2 mile where they go?
I was hoping they would have done that next or rather than what they did at the weekend. Too keen was what Danny Mullins said, and it's what showed, and it's what got him unstuck last time.
Significant.
Dropping him back a trip makes sense somewhat, but if you're too keen over 2 miles anyway. They need to get him to settle whatever trip he runs over. So yes, a drop back to 2 is probably preferable, but you still can't go flat out for 2 miles, can you? So I don't know what they need to do. Get some. I thought Danny Mullins was going to be the magic touch. That's what I was hoping for at the weekend because he's been riding brilliantly, and I thought he might just be able to settle him. But if even he's struggling with him, he might be a bit of a head case.
Yeah, and he was the one who was hanging around for one ride, and he's been there all day. He's been, watching songs of praise or whatever in the changing room, and he's thinking, "I've got this one ride here, or the favourite's out now. Oh, yes, I'll win this one. It might be a hole in the ground, but
You see the gamble though. He was into 2-1 with Act of Innocence in, and then when he came out, went off 6-4. I mean, it was a significant market move.
I think everything was there. And again, we talked about him on the Punters Guide, and John McConnell and Danny Mullins and feared combination. And we both fancied the horse, but was far too keen. And Danny's another great talker who I think the horse is a bit tripless. Because you don't know where. It's one of those where where do you go? I don't know. I was more confused in this race, to be honest.
You'd struggle to back him, wouldn't you, for the festival?
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
I almost had him as before he was entered in the 2.5. He was on my mind for a wild supreme shout, but they've tried him at 2.5. He's still keen. He's a tricky horse.
What about those that thought the finish then? Cryptic Jim, despite making a hash of the last, still just managed to get up. Taurus Bay. Ben Pauling's comments really interesting. Thinks that'll make more of a man of him the first time he's had to battle, and they'll see an even better model in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I mean, both Bens have had a brilliant season, and Ben Jones is getting some outside rides as well. We touched on him earlier on. I think that's probably why that Ben Pauling said afterwards that he was happy with seconds. Short head in the dark, couldn't see the picture, but he was happy. And I first thought he's obviously taking a mick, but no, that's probably true. He knows what he's doing as well. He's been around long enough to know what he's doing. I think the pair of them just get better and better and better. I think he's at that Skelton stage where Skelton was maybe 6 years ago, where it's the next generation taking over. It's taken him a little bit of time, but he's always had talent, and he's very good at talking about his horses without overhyping them. And
I'm obviously looking forward to the DRF, aren't I? Because I've turned this into just an Irish fan club this weekend. But if you were to give me the top 3 in that race versus the top 3 that will finish in the 2 mile 6 race at the DRF this weekend, and I could have the top 3 in either, and that race hasn't even ran yet, I'd be over in Ireland for that, certainly. I think that those 2.5 to 3 mile novice hurdlers in Ireland are much better.
Okay, well, hold that thought. We'll come back to that in a minute, because that's an interesting subject. We talk about our training focus. However, you mentioned Ben Jones. Just to go a little bit more depth here. Is he going to be the jockey to watch at Cheltenham? He's building up some portfolio, bearing in mind the jukebox man in the Gold Cup. No questions asked. Imagine I'll go for the Broadway. Mambo number 5 in the Arkle. They have Henry's friend. Imagine maybe the Ultima, one of the staying handicaps. Bad, obviously, wherever he goes. Diva Luna, imagine going the Mare's Chase. Handstands obviously got quality. Marchand 2 in the stayers. Ubet, you want to ask it the other day, imagine going the Mares. Taurus Bay, second of the day. Vanderpool, one of the fancies for the Grand Annual. And I'll stop there because there's many, many more as well. The Jukebox Kid could go in the handicap. I mean, that is some book. And I'm not talking on Paul Townend scale here, but he's going to have chances.
Yeah, and in fairness, he's ridden festival winners, and Pauling, even when he's had quieter years, still finds a Cheltenham winner, doesn't he? He's actually always got 1 or 2. Whereas you look at the pair of them for this season, just when you're talking through them, I'm like, got a good chance. Like I said, it's a proper sort of festival book. Marchand 2 is interesting because they said Cobden would get first refusal, but he might get the JP call up considering there's 2 there. So you'd like to think that he could be taking that ride as well, which would be beautiful. And you can't knock the job he did at the weekend. He was mustard. I think he's in a brilliant position as a jockey because he's not Paul Townend or Nico de Boinville or Harry Cobden, but he's got this lovely book and he gets those rides with slightly less pressure, I'd say, from the public. Not all eyes are on him, but they've got as good a chance as some of the current bigger names. Even when he went into the King George, obviously there's talk about him, but there's probably less talk about Ben Jones as a jockey and more talk about the horse. So he goes out there and fair play, gets the job done. He's riding brilliantly. I read the Racing Post article and he said he feels confident. He's always felt confident. And you can see that in the way that he rides. When he fires them into the last couple of fences, he does it with confidence.
So here's Joel, your take?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I've been saying that last couple of seasons. He's got better and better and better. And it's always good, like we used to say, like the cheat code, when you find a really good one. The cat's out the bag now. Same as probably Dylan Johnson as well. Went through his claim really quickly. At Saturday Sam Thomas's place, but Ben Jones is riding great, and there's certain trainers that only trust certain jockeys, and he's getting the rides, and I think he'll have a great one. Interestingly, do you have? I mean, I'm presuming Townend's going to be what 1 or 2, 4 to 9, 1 to 3, something like that, to be champion jockey. Sean Bone's still not ridden a Cheltenham Festival winner. Brian Hughes is going to be field. So who's what price are you looking at? Because bearing in mind, it's only going to be a case of every year when he used to back Ruby Walsh and Willie Mullins or Paul Nicholls to be top trainer and jockey combined. The only thing is about getting the jockey falling off in the first day and, doing a leg or something like that. So,
You could have him as best of the British.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
In terms of how many he might ride at the festival, I mean, as in winners wise, you could.
But I
certainly
think, I think Cobden, it depends, doesn't it? It all depends now on what Cobden's going to ride, and if that kicks in now. If we know riding arrangements as they are, you'd probably start looking at Nico and stuff like that. But well, he ain't going to ride this, and ain't going to ride that, and no, I know it's really early and what have you. I say really early, we're 40 days away or something. But Ben Jones is a great shout for best of British. I don't know what price you'd get if you can find those specials.
Right, just go back. You mentioned the novice hurdlers, Frankie. Obviously, the training focus is going to mention is Paul Nicholls because the recent season he hasn't targeted Cheltenham. He saved his powder dry for Aintree. But obviously, he has got no drama this end. You mentioned about you take the 3 from Ireland this weekend over the 3 from what we saw on Saturday. We still no drama this end. Do you think he is the best of the British novice hurdlers?
I think so, yeah. You can't get away from the Nicholls Cheltenham curse, though, and even the Challow route to some degree as well. I suppose the New Line did it last year, didn't he? Won the Challow and then won the 2.5 mile. You can still hear me? I lost you for a sec. Yeah, he probably is, but and you shouldn't just back or not back horses based on stats, but history does repeat itself, and it does put doubt in your mind with any Nicholls horse in the graded races. I've put up Regent Stroll.
I was about to say you've got Regent Stroll already, so yeah.
Which is my first. So I've sided with the Nicholls runner. I'm hoping he can. And he did have a winner last year. Look, he had a Cheltenham Festival winner in the same race last year, so it can be done. Probably is. And I'd love to see him go and do it. And I think what I'm hoping for is some of the Irish horses that I've got on my mind, like I'll Sort That, Sortudo, I'm hoping they're going up to 3 miles. And and that means that the 2.5 miler is more winnable for no drama this end. So, yeah, I think I just won't back him. I know I won't back him. There's something in me that just says there'll be one to get him beat, and it'll be poor old Nicholls is second. But he's obviously got a good chance, hasn't he? He's been very impressive so far.
Joel?
Yeah, I mean, I do like the way that he pretty much not ignores Cheltenham, but he goes on to Aintree now, and it's nice. It adds a little bit of that quality for Nicholls. And I think it's a reason why Cobden has decided that he's going to take the JP job in Ireland and England, simply because he probably wants to ride winners at Cheltenham and at the Cheltenham Festival, and that's it. And Paul is very much now about we'll get the prize money, we'll go to the most winnable races. And there's no point getting beaten in 5 or 6 races where you could win them at Aintree. So I don't expect him to have a brilliant season. He's one of those fellas. Always speaks. People sometimes find him spiky, but when he's had a winner or he's had a good one, he's back. He's bang up for it. When he's really big on one, but I just don't know. I believe in powder dry with pretty much all of his.
Okay, I'm going to talk about our Ante-post picks. I remember you mentioned a few that have commented, and if you want to get involved, please like, subscribe, and comment below on your picks for the festival, whether they're fans, strong fancies, whether they're outsiders. Malloyd 5551 says his strongest ones are the same as you, Joel. Marine National and Bambino Fever. So he doesn't think you're a tit. He quite likes you. Best outsider, King of Answers for the Ultima. Very interesting. He's been backing for a while in multiples. He's got it with the Rocco in the Grand National as well. That's a cracking play, that one. Thomas Jones 91 says on a double, factor file at 4s and final demand at 3s. Paul Brooks 4 and 3. This is interesting. Yeah, Paul Brooks 4 and 3 is interesting because he's put whatever deep cave might be running. And Frankie, you've actually said back to him potential festival and national double. I mentioned it'll be probably the Ultima or maybe the King over the National.
I think the Ultima and then on to the National. And I don't disagree. I reckon that Ascot race he won will work out quite nicely.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thomas Jones actually commented twice with the same one. Factor Fowler found a man's other, or that always backed it twice. And Keith Evans, Factor Fowler 5-2, Lodersud 4s each way. That's put up by Pricewise last week. And Wendigo 33s each way for your racing club, Frankie. So I know you told him nice prices as well. So
I don't think that's a bad shout. Wendigo, I'd still stick with him especially if it's soft ground and the hill will help him, and he's ran well at Cheltenham before. He obviously got bumped around, but yeah, I certainly wouldn't give up hope on Wendigo.
right.
No, Jamie Smorden hasn't.
No, right. Ante-post time. Right, we've been both dealt a blow, Joel, because Common John has not been entered in the Albert Bartlett. Jaguar's not going in the Ryanair, and Pose Toire's more than twice the price than I've put him at him. The only one that looks good at the minute is Old Park Star in the Supreme and Regent Stroll in the Jack Richards. Right, what have we got this week? I'll let you go first, Joel.
All right, I'm going to go a bit rogue this week. You mentioned somebody who just mentioned Bambino Fever for the Mares Novices Hurdle. I'm going to, it's one of those races that the bar will be full, won't it? The Gillis tent will be 14 deep. Top of the market, Bambino Fever. Obviously looks the most obvious winner. However, I'm going right down the page, 50-1, Jackie Hobbs, who won at Wincanton the other day. Absolute ton in hand. I was so impressed. I think it was about even money on the night before, drifted out to 7-40.
Yeah, there's a big gamble on the Di Walters horse, which I just could not fathom.
Yeah, I couldn't fathom that. And I know everybody was excited about this. And the bigger the price, bigger the certainty. And I think that there's potentially an opportunity to go to Ferry House, but I'm not sure they'll do that. And I'm willing to put down my tenner each way, 50-1 for Jackie Hobbs in the Noel Feely Racing colours for the Mares Novices Hurdle. Thank you.
Fair play. Right, Frankie, cross country, is it?
Yep, I've gone really rogue. But as I was explaining...
Mr. Coffee!
No, I thought about it. I did think about it. I was trying to look, there's a chunk of horse at the top of the market that are going to carry a lot of weight. They're the class acts, and it may come down to a battle of graded horses again. But just the way that it is a handicap, and that I was trying to find one that I think is going to go off a nice weight. Now he's 11 years old, but they do love to plot one. They're not scared of plotting one. Annual Invictus for the Gordons. Freddie will be riding him, I'm sure. He trotted round out the back at the weekend, just getting his bearings. And somehow, if you look at 2 or 3 out, he was about a furlong behind the leader. Somehow managed to just cruise through into 4th. I don't know what is going to happen to his mark, but he's off for 137, and he is a decent horse. So where I'm looking at that top chunk that could even be into the 150s or the high 140s, he is going to get a lot away from them, and he's not a subpar 125, 130 horse. So if there's one in there that's well handicapped, I think it will be Annual Invictus, and they've obviously had the run over the weekend with that in mind. So Freddie and Chris Gordon with the old boy Annual Invictus in the cross country.
Well, I'll tell you what, you might want to be playing your Ante-post Trixie on this week's selections then, because you're probably looking about 33s, 40s for Annual Invictus. Jackie Hobbs at 50-1. I'm going to play in the Champion Hurdle, like I said, and all right, Lossiemouth will probably end up turning up a red-hot favourite. The New Lion will probably see a better horse at Cheltenham, granted, but he's not bomb-proof. Constitution Hill, who knows? All eyes on Sun on the 20th of February. Brighter Days Ahead, we know, doesn't like Cheltenham. Golden Ace, solid yardstick, 8-1. Anzadam, will he come over 10s? Alfabiolo, people looking at him on the back of one performance, beating Bally Adamant. Okay, on Spillane's Tower. We mentioned him right at the beginning of the season, and I'm going to stick him in now. 33-1, just to get a piece of the place pie. Alexei, where we like to pronounce it. Greatwood Hurdle winner over track and triple, most impressive of all. All right, he got beat at Ascot. The top 2 there went on to finish top 2 again off high marks at Windsor. So the form wasn't bad, and he had a lump of weight. He was giving Willful and Hot Fuss plenty of weight. They've both franked the form. It's not obviously massively pie in the sky for these good handicappers to go and run one of the Champion Hurdle. So at 33s, Alexei, with 50-1 Jackie Hobbs and 40-1 Annual Invictus. We'll see you in Barbados.
I always move that from down there. It's 722,226 quid for a tenner a tenner each way if they all win.
See you in Barbados.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is now, we'll all sit here and laugh. Watch them all come flying in.
And we haven't done it.
Even if you've got your pound on it. And then people in the comments are going, I used to think Joel's a tit, but tell you what,
No,
I'm going to be in Barbados now.
Brilliant. No, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having a few flies. Right, anything else, boys, before we say cheerio?
No, just that Willie Mullins domination's inbound.
Yeah,
I saw that bumper horse yesterday.
I was going to say that bumper horse yesterday, favourite now, I think 7-1 or something around that. I thought that was I think that horse that need 3.5 miles already. I couldn't have that on my mind, and anything wins in those colours. By that, was it 14 lengths or something like that? I watched it back.
Love Sign Dunu, for those who aren't aware. Love Sign Dunu.
Yeah, if you're backing that at sevens, well, fair play to you. Have a good day. But there's the DRF to come. So this is when it takes the turn.
Right, busy week of action ahead. Right, Friday there'll be a bumper show. It'll probably take us about 3 hours to get through all the races. Are you off to DRF, Frankie? Of course you are.
Yes, Saturday morning.
He's never here. He's never on Judith Chalmers over there. Right, DRF bound. Myself and Joel, we're staying put, but we're going to sit in front of the telly and watch it all. We've got Sandown. We have got Weatherby. We have got Musselburgh for Scottish Trials weekend. We have got the DRF. Loads to discuss. Make sure you're with us. Join us Friday. We'll go through all of that action. Have a cracking week. Best of luck whenever you're back in. We'll see you Friday as we try and point the direction to some winners in the DRF.